Let me ask you a confronting question. Have you ever wondered why some of the smartest people you know are broke, while others with less talent or education are swimming in success and wealth? It seems unfair, doesn't it? You did everything right. You studied hard. You made top grades. You may even hold advanced degrees or are known for your brilliance in your field. You're the one people come to for advice. You're the genius in the room. And yet, your bank account doesn't reflect your brain power. The hidden struggle of the highly intelligent. Being broke as a smart person is uniquely frustrating. You know so much, yet feel like you're stuck in a loop, always planning, rarely executing, always solving complex problems for others, but never solving your own financial situation. You've read the books, taken the courses, maybe even followed gurus online. Still, wealth remains elusive. Why? Because success isn't solely about how smart you are. It's about what you do with what you know, and more importantly, how you think about money, value, risk, and action. This book is not about mocking intelligence or glorifying ignorance. Quite the opposite. This audiobook is a wake-up call, and a roadmap. It's for the intellectuals, the overthinkers, the perfectionists, the planners who never pull the trigger. It's for the underpaid PhDs, the broke creatives, the logical minds trapped in illogical money cycles. You're not poor because you're not smart enough. You're poor because you've been trained to play the wrong game. In the chapters ahead, we will dissect the psychological, cultural, and behavioral patterns that keep brilliant people financially stagnant, and more importantly, we'll show you how to break free. You'll learn why working harder isn't the answer, and what actually is. How your intellect is being weaponized against your own success. Why smart people overestimate risk and underestimate relationships. How to turn your genius into leverage, income, and lasting wealth. Each chapter is a mirror, a challenge, and a step forward. You'll discover hidden self-sabotage mechanisms, unlearn toxic financial myths, and rewire your mind for abundance. You're not just going to learn how to make money. You're going to learn how to stop being your own limitation. This audiobook will make you uncomfortable. It will challenge your beliefs, expose your blind spots, and likely offend your ego. But if you listen with humility and hunger, it will also transform your life. Because the truth is, being a genius is a gift. Staying broke is a choice. The Broke Genius: Why Smart People Stay Poor, and How to Fix It. Written and published by the Zillion Pro. Chapter 1. The Curse of Overthinking: Why Smart People Struggle to Take Action. They say knowledge is power, but that's only half the truth. Knowledge is potential power. Action is real power. And if there's one area where many brilliant individuals sabotage their own success, it's in their tendency to overthink everything. The overthinking trap. Overthinking is a seductive form of self-sabotage. It feels like progress. It looks like intelligence. But in reality, it's a high-functioning form of fear in disguise. Smart people are often caught in the mental habit of constantly analyzing every possible outcome before taking a step. What if it fails? What if I lose money? What if people don't like it? What if I could do it better with a bit more time, research, or strategy? So they keep planning. They keep researching. They keep preparing, but they don't move. Meanwhile, someone with half their IQ and twice their boldness takes a mediocre idea, launches it with confidence, and ends up reaping real-world results. This is the curse of overthinking. You stay stuck in potential, while others build prosperity. Paralysis by analysis. The modern world rewards speed, execution, and momentum. But the genius mind often works like a high-powered engine with no transmission, full of horsepower but unable to shift into motion. Overanalyzing decisions leads to indecision. Indecision leads to stagnation. And stagnation, over time, becomes a lifestyle of mediocrity wrapped in intellectual superiority. You might have 10 brilliant business ideas, but none launched. You might be able to write a life-changing book, but never publish it. You might be able to design the next innovation, but never pitch it to anyone. All because you are stuck thinking about the right way to do it. The hidden fear behind overthinking. Behind overthinking is usually one dominant emotion: fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of success, yes, that too. Fear of losing control. Highly intelligent people often over-identify with their ideas. So if the idea fails, they feel they have failed. And since their identity is so wrapped up in being smart, they avoid real-world risks, because a failure might damage their self-perception. So what do they do instead? They keep refining, polishing, over-engineering. But they never release. This perfectionism masks itself as excellence. But it's really procrastination in disguise. Imagine two people. One is a brilliant engineer who designed a revolutionary product but never told anyone about it. The other is a confident marketer who took an average product and boldly presented it to the world. Guess who ends up with the wealth, influence, and opportunities? Not the genius with the better invention. The world rewards the person who shows up, not the person who stays in the lab tweaking endlessly. Execution beats brilliance when brilliance refuses to act. How to break the overthinking cycle. 1. Set deadlines for decision making. Make it a habit to limit your thinking window. Give yourself 48 hours to make a decision, not 4 weeks. Progress loves speed. 2. Adopt the 80% rule. If it's 80% ready, it's ready enough. Perfection is not the goal, progress is. 3. Start before you're ready. Most wealthy people launch first and learn along the way. Don't wait until everything is perfect, start with version 1.0. 4. Take small, strategic risks. Train your brain to get comfortable with imperfection. Launch a small project. Make a pitch. Test a prototype. Build the habit of shipping. 5. Measure action, not just ideas. Reward yourself for action taken, not just insights gained. Track how many times you execute, not just how many times you think. Intelligence plus inaction equals frustration. You can be the most brilliant mind in the room and still be broke. Because what the marketplace values is not just how much you know, it's what you do with what you know. Execution is the difference between potential wealth and actual wealth. Ideas don't pay the bills. Action does. A final word to the overthinker. If you're someone who's always waiting for the right moment, the perfect plan, or absolute certainty, here's the truth: you're lying to yourself. There is no perfect plan. There is no perfect timing. And intelligence without boldness is just unused ammunition. Your genius is a gift, but only if you set it free. Start before you're ready. Act while others are still thinking. That's how you move from being a broke genius to a wealthy one. Chapter 2. Education versus financial intelligence, when smart isn't rich. There's a common belief that education is the key to success. And in many ways, it is, but only if it's the right kind of education. Walk into any struggling community, and you'll find highly educated individuals, engineers, teachers, lawyers, even PhDs, who are broke, overworked, or underpaid. They followed the rules: go to school, get good grades, get a degree. And now? They're trapped in a system that trained them to be smart but never taught them to be wealthy. The miseducation of the modern mind. Our traditional education system was not designed to create wealth creators. It was built to produce obedient workers, people who could follow rules, memorize facts, and perform within structured systems. You were likely taught how to solve complex equations, but not how to manage personal finances. How to write essays, but not how to write a business plan. How to pass exams, but not how to pass up liabilities and acquire assets. How to chase grades, but not how to build wealth. In short, you were trained to be an excellent employee, not an empowered entrepreneur or investor. This is why so many smart people end up poor. They equate academic intelligence with financial intelligence. The illusion of the degree. A degree can get you a job, but not necessarily wealth. It may open doors, but it won't open bank accounts, unless you know how to play the money game. Here's the truth most intelligent people don't like to admit. A degree is not a guarantee, it's just a tool. It's not what you studied that matters most, it's what you understand about money, value, leverage, and opportunity. Financial success isn't about being the smartest. It's about knowing how money works, how to make it, grow it, multiply it, and protect it. What is financial intelligence? Financial intelligence is the ability to make smart money decisions. It's understanding how money flows, how value is exchanged, and how wealth is built over time. It includes budgeting and money management, understanding assets versus liabilities, knowing how to use debt as a tool, building passive income streams, recognizing opportunities for leverage, investing intelligently. Sadly, none of these topics are taught in most schools, especially not in the curriculum for the smart kids, so, you may have a brilliant mind, but if no one ever taught you how money works, you left vulnerable, educated but broke. Why smart people resist financial education? Oddly enough, intelligent people often resist financial education more than others. Why? Because they think they already know enough. I have a degree in economics, I don't need to learn about money management. They fear looking ignorant. Asking about money feels like admitting failure. They believe money is beneath them. There's a strange elitism in academic circles that treats wealth creation as lowbrow materialistic. But here's the irony. The people who avoid learning about money often end up controlled by it. They work harder and longer, for less. They accumulate degrees and debt. They become slaves to salaries, even when they know they're underpaid. The Ivy League employee versus the high school dropout investor. Me too people. Michael, a Harvard graduate with a degree in political science, now working 70 hours a week in a corporate role, barely saving, and deep in student loan debt. Thompson, a high school dropout who learned how to flip real estate and invest in cash-flowing properties. He reads books on money, attends wealth-building seminars, and studies wealthy mentors. He now owns 12 properties and earns more in passive income than Michael does in salary. Who's smarter? Academically, it's Michael. Financially, it's Thompson. But which life would you rather have? This isn't to shame education, it's to awaken you to the missing link. How to shift from academic intelligence to financial intelligence. 1. Start unlearning. Challenge what you were taught about money, success, and the value of credentials. 2. Study the wealthy. Read books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Millionaire Fast Lane, or The Psychology of Money. Watch how the wealthy think, move, and invest. 3. Track your cash flow. If you don't know where your money is going, you can't control it. Learn to budget like a business. 4. Invest in real-world skills. Financial intelligence is built through real experiences, buying assets, taking risks, starting something. 5. Find a financial mentor. Get around people who are financially where you want to be. Intelligence grows through association. Intelligence is not equal to income. Let's be clear, being smart doesn't entitle you to wealth. Being trained in academic theories won't make you financially free. It is application of financial wisdom that leads to abundance. If you want to move from broke genius to wealthy genius, you must educate yourself all over again, this time in the school of money. Closing thoughts. You don't need another degree. You don't need to become smarter. You need to become financially wiser. Because at the end of the day, the most dangerous kind of broke person is the one who believes they're too smart to be poor. Don't just be educated. Be empowered. Chapter 3. The Trap of Working Hard Alone, Why Effort Without Leverage Keeps You Broke. Smart people are often told from childhood that hard work is the key to success. Work hard, and you'll make it, stay focused, and life will reward you, just keep grinding, someone will notice. But here's the uncomfortable truth, hard work alone doesn't make you rich. In fact, many of the hardest working people in the world are broke, not because they lack discipline or drive, but because they're trapped in a system that glorifies solo effort and ignores strategic leverage. The myth of hard work as a wealth strategy. Let's break a myth wide open. Hard work equals success. That's a lie, or at least, a half-truth. Yes, hard work is important. But it is not enough. The janitor works hard. The factory worker works hard. The nurse on night shifts works hard. But who gets the wealth? Usually, it's the person who learns how to multiply effort through people, systems, or capital. Smart people often get stuck in the do-it-yourself mindset, believing that their brilliance and work ethic will eventually be recognized and rewarded. They believe that if they do everything right, keep pushing, and stay loyal to the grind, life will pay them back. But in the real world, value is not rewarded by effort alone, it's rewarded by results and scale. The burden of self-reliance. Many intelligent individuals fall into the trap of doing everything themselves. Why? They trust themselves more than others. They fear mistakes and believe only they can do it right. They have pride in being the smartest person in the room. They confuse busyness with productivity. But here's the problem. If you're the only engine in your machine, you will burn out, not break through. Solo hard work creates a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day, and only so much energy you can give. You may be running at 100%, but if your effort isn't leveraged, your results remain small. You're not a machine. You're a genius, but geniuses must learn to build teams, systems, and assets. Income is not directly proportional to effort. Look around. A freelance writer working 10 hours a day might make $300. A business owner who owns the platform might make $3,000 while playing golf. What's the difference? Leverage. The writer is selling hours. The business owner is selling systems. One is working hard alone. The other has built a machine that works with or without them. The same applies in every field. Doctors, consultants, programmers, even educators. If you're exchanging time for money, you are capped, no matter how intelligent you are. 3 types of leverage that break the hard work trap. To escape the trap of working hard alone, you must embrace leverage, the secret weapon of the wealthy one. People leverage. Build teams. Delegate. Outsource. You don't need to know how to do everything. You need to know how to coordinate talent. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Let others do what you're weak at, so you can focus on your zone of genius too. Systems leverage. Automate processes. Create workflows. Let technology work while you sleep. This could mean automated email marketing, online sales funnels, booking systems, or digital products. Systems allow you to earn even when you're not working. 3. Capital leverage. Use money to grow money. This includes investing in assets, advertising, or hiring people who generate more value. The wealthy don't just work for money, they make money work for them. If you're not using any of these forms of leverage, you're trying to climb a mountain with your bare hands, while others are riding elevators they built once and maintain over time. Why smart people avoid leverage? Oddly, smart people often resist leverage. Why? They believe no one else can do it as well as they can. They fear delegation because it introduces variables they can't control. They've been praised for individual excellence, not team success. They equate needing help with weakness. But this mindset is what keeps them overworked and underpaid. Wealth is a team sport. If you want to scale, you must let go of the lone wolf mentality. The solo consultant versus the scalable educator. Meet Angela, a brilliant corporate consultant billing $200 per hour. She works long hours, travels frequently, and earns decent money. But she's exhausted and always chasing the next client. Now meet Daniel, also a consultant, but instead of selling his time, he created an online course, hired a content team, and built a scalable mentorship program. Now, Daniel earns $20,000 a month while spending 10 hours a week managing systems. Angela is still working hard. Daniel has learned to work smart and scale. Which one are you becoming? The breakthrough mindset, from operator to owner. You must shift your identity. From being the doer of all things to being the builder of things that do. Stop thinking like a high-paid worker. Start thinking like a creator of systems. This doesn't mean you become lazy or careless. It means you learn to build wealth in a way that doesn't depend on you being present every second. Smart people don't need to work harder, they need to think bigger. Closing thoughts. Hard work is noble. But hard work without leverage becomes slavery with better branding. You are not broke because you're lazy. You're broke because you're doing everything yourself. It's time to upgrade from the solo genius to the strategic architect. Build systems. Use leverage. Collaborate. Delegate. And most of all, stop believing that effort equals income. In the real world, income flows not to those who work the hardest, but to those who build the smartest machines. Chapter 4. Ego, pride, and the fear of looking dumb, the hidden enemies of wealth. For the intelligent mind, one of the hardest things to admit is, I don't know. That phrase, well simple, can feel like death to the ego, especially when you've built your entire identity on being the smart one, the expert, the go-to genius. But here's the paradox. The very intelligence that sets you apart can also become the wall that holds you back. Why? Because many smart people would rather stay broke than look dumb while learning something new. The invisible wall called ego. Ego is the inner voice that says, I already know that. That's beneath me. I should be further along. What will people think if I fail? Ego doesn't just make you arrogant, it makes you afraid. Afraid of being wrong. Afraid of being seen as a beginner. Afraid of making a mistake in public. Afraid of not living up to the image you've crafted. And so, to protect your status as smart, you subconsciously reject opportunities that would actually make you wealthy. Pride in intelligence, poverty in outcomes. Let's call it what it is. Pride keeps smart people poor. Because they don't ask questions, they fear looking unknowledgeable. They avoid mentors, they assume they should already know. They don't try new things, they're afraid to be seen failing at something simple. They look down on less intellectual ways of making money, like selling, marketing, or investing. But here's the truth that every wealthy person knows, in the real world, being a know-it-all costs you money. Being coachable is worth more than being clever. You don't get paid for being impressive. You get paid for being effective. Humility, the millionaire mindset. One of the defining traits of wealthy individuals is this: they stay hungry to learn, no matter how much they already know. They read books. They hire coaches. They ask for help. They surround themselves with people who challenge their thinking. Because they've made peace with not knowing everything, and they understand that every level of wealth requires a new level of learning. Ironically, the smarter you are, the harder it is to accept that. Because your brain has always been your identity. So any form of not knowing feels like a threat to your self-worth. But in business, entrepreneurship, investing, heck, even life, ego is expensive. And humility is profitable. The fear of looking dumb. Let's talk about one of the biggest hidden forces that keep smart people stuck, the fear of looking stupid. You may not admit it, but it shows up like this. You don't launch the idea because you don't want criticism. You don't post online because you don't want to be judged. You don't join communities because you fear being exposed. You don't ask basic questions because you assume I should know this by now. So instead of growing, you hide. Instead of building, you wait. Instead of learning, you pretend. All because of one silent killer, image management. You've become more committed to looking smart than to becoming successful. The silent genius versus the curious student. Meet David, a brilliant developer, top of his class, always praised for his intelligence. But he refuses to attend seminars, never asks for feedback, and silently struggles in his freelancing business. He's more afraid of being seen as not good enough than he is hungry to succeed. Now meet Fiona, a young entrepreneur with average intelligence but a fearless hunger to learn. She asks questions, tests ideas publicly, and openly fails forward. She builds momentum fast because her ego doesn't hold her hostage. In 3 years, Fiona has built a successful business. David is still almost ready to launch. The one who learns faster wins, not the one who already knows more. How to kill ego and embrace growth. 1. Admit you don't know everything. Say it out loud. Write it down. Let it humble you. Wealth begins with a teachable spirit. 2. Ask dumb questions boldly. The only dumb question is the one that keeps you broke. Every master was once a beginner. 3. Embrace being a beginner again. It's okay not to know how sales works, or how real estate works, or how crypto works. But it's not okay to let pride stop you from learning. 4. Let go of the smart person identity. Replace it with, I'm a lifelong student. Intelligence is not a trophy, it's a tool. Use it to adapt, not to impress. 5. Celebrate mistakes as feedback. Your first online course might flop. Your first investment might go wrong. So what? Mistakes are tuition. Pay it and keep moving. From image to impact. At the end of the day, you must choose between image and impact. Image is about how people see you. Impact is about the results you create. You can either protect your pride, or pursue your purpose. You can either look smart, or become financially smart. The world doesn't reward the one who never fails. It rewards the one who keeps learning, adjusting, and growing. Closing thoughts. Your intelligence is not the problem. Your pride is. If you're willing to look dumb for a season, you can become unstoppable for a lifetime. Because when you finally stop trying to prove how smart you are, you free yourself to become as wealthy as you were meant to be. Chapter 5. Trading time for money. Why linear income keeps you poor. You wake up early. You work all day. You go home exhausted. You repeat the same routine the next day. And after all the effort, all the brain power, all the late nights, you are still not financially free. Why? Because you've fallen into the trap that keeps even the smartest people broke, exchanging time for money. What is linear income? Linear income is simple. You work, you get paid. No work, no pay. Your income is directly tied to the number of hours you can physically or mentally perform. This is how most high IQ individuals operate. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, consultants, designers, educators. All of them have high skill, high education, high competence, but low leverage if their money stops when they do. Linear income is a hamster wheel that's painted gold. It looks impressive. It pays well at first. But over time, it traps you. Because it's based on the one resource you'll never get more of, time. The genius illusion of high-paying jobs. A six-figure salary feels like success. Until you realize that your calendar is owned by your employer, your energy is drained by endless tasks, and your time is consumed by meetings, deadlines, and stress. And the moment you stop working, whether by choice or by force, your income disappears. This is what we call fragile wealth. It looks strong, but it's built on a single point of failure, you. Your intelligence may earn you a higher hourly rate, but if your income still requires your constant presence, you're just an expensive employee, not a free person. The hidden cost of time-based income. Let's break it down. You have 24 hours in a day. You can only work a fraction of that. You need time for rest, relationships, health, and life. So, no matter how smart you are, your income is capped. You've hit a ceiling, not because you lack talent, but because you're using the wrong model. Linear income creates burnout, not freedom. And this is the financial model most intelligent people are trained to live by. Study hard, work hard, get a high-paying job, and spend your best years building someone else's empire. The freedom model, passive and leverage income. If you want true financial freedom, you must graduate from linear income to leverage income. That means creating money systems that continue to generate revenue even when you're not actively working. Some examples include 1. Product-based income. Create a digital product, like an online course, ebook, app, or template, that sells 24 hours of 7 days of the week. You build once, Sell forever 2. Business ownership. Own or invest in a business that runs on people and systems, not your hours. You work on the business, not in it. 3. Investments. Put your money into assets that produce income, real estate, dividend stocks, index funds, crypto staking, etc. Let your money work harder than you do. 4. Licensing and royalties. Own intellectual property, patents, books, music, software, that pay you for years to come. The wealthy don't trade time, they build machines. You know what the wealthy understand. Money is not made by effort alone, it's made by building machines. Machines that work when you're sleeping, when you're on vacation, when you're too tired to show up, when you're ready to retire. These money machines are built with systems, processes, automation, people. And the best part, once built, these machines generate recurring income, the kind of income that doesn't need you to be present. This is how freedom is built. Why smart people stay trapped in linear models. So why do intelligent people stay stuck trading time for money? 1. They were never taught another way. Our education system glorifies job security, not wealth building. 2. They fear losing control. Passive income feels uncertain or too risky. 3. They underestimate what they don't understand. Investing, digital products, or automation feel beneath their intellectual radar. 4. They love being the expert. Many smart people love being the one, the consultant, the advisor, the technician, and struggle to let go. But if you're always the product, you'll never have time to build a real business. The consultant versus the creator. Meet Lara, a brilliant financial consultant billing $300 per hour. She works hard and earns well, but every dollar depends on every hour. Now meet Felix, a former teacher who turned his lessons into an online financial literacy course. He invested in ads, built an email list, and now sells the course worldwide, even while he sleeps. Lara is still respected, but trapped. Felix is less visible, but free. The lesson? Don't aim to be the best at working. Aim to be the smartest at scaling. How to escape the time for money trap. 1. Audit your income streams. Ask yourself, how much of my income requires me to show up every day? 2. Create something once, sell it forever. Start small, a book, a guide, a template, a workshop recording. 3. Invest in assets, not just effort. Start learning about real estate, stocks, digital assets, whatever fits your interest and risk appetite. 4. Systematize what you do. Turn your process into a product. If you consult, create a course. If you teach, build a program. 5. Change your identity. You're not just a worker. You're a wealth architect. Start building money systems, not just income streams. Closing thoughts. Time is your most limited resource. The more of it you trade for money, the less freedom you'll ever have. You are not broke because you're not smart. You're broke because you've chosen a model that cannot scale. It's time to stop working for money and start building systems that let money work for you. You don't need more hours. You need more leverage. Chapter 6. The Risk Aversion Dilemma. Why playing it safe is dangerous. Smart people often make one critical mistake that keeps them financially stuck. They mistake playing it safe for being smart. In school, you were rewarded for having the right answers, following instructions, and avoiding errors. In real life, wealth often rewards those who take calculated risks, move first, and learn through failure. The tragedy. Many intelligent people stay broke because they're more afraid of risk than they are of mediocrity. The illusion of safety. Smart people are wired to seek certainty. They want logic, predictability, control, guarantees. They're trained to calculate the probability of failure before making any move. This is a great approach for solving math problems or engineering equations. But when applied to money, entrepreneurship, or investing, it becomes a prison. Why? Because the real world doesn't reward caution. It rewards courage with preparation. Staying in your comfort zone may feel secure, but it's often just a well-decorated cage. Risk aversion, the subtle wealth killer. Here's how risk aversion shows up in the life of a broke genius. You don't launch your business because it might fail. You don't invest because the market fluctuates. You don't pitch your ideas because people might reject them. You don't leave your job because it's too risky to try something else. You don't hire help because no one can do it like me. So instead, you stick with safe decisions. You keep the secure job, even though it drains your potential. You save money but never multiply it. You hoard knowledge but never use it. You stay prepared, but never take the leap. Congratulations, you're safe, but stuck. The hidden cost of playing it safe. Avoiding risk may protect you from failure, but it also blocks you from breakthrough. You don't just miss out on potential losses. You miss out on potential growth. Exponential returns. Once in a lifetime opportunities. Learning through experience. The chance to build something bigger than yourself. In other words, playing it safe has a price, and often, it's your future. Why smart people fear risk more than they should. Let's go deeper. Why do intelligent people often avoid risk? 1. They were rewarded for perfection, not progress. A wrong answer in school meant failure. In life, it's often the first step to mastery. 2. They overestimate what they could lose, and underestimate what they could gain. This is called loss aversion bias, the tendency to fear loss more than we value reward. 3. They want all the answers before they act. But entrepreneurship, investing, and wealth building are full of uncertainty. No amount of research can eliminate all risk. 4. They confuse risk with recklessness. Not all risks are equal. Wealthy people take calculated risks, not random gambles. 5. They identify too closely with their decisions. A failed business equals I'm a failure instead of I just learned something powerful. The risk taker versus the perfectionist. Let's meet two people. Florence is a sharp, analytical software engineer. She's been planning her app idea for 2 years, refining features, studying the market, preparing a perfect launch. But she's terrified of releasing it before it's ready. Ella is a scrappy but bold designer. She launched a rough version of her idea within 60 days. She got customer feedback, made improvements, and began earning income while learning on the job. Guess who wins? Ella. Not because she's smarter, but because she acted, learned, and adapted. Florence is still waiting for the right time, but in business, timing belongs to the brave, not the perfect. How wealthy people think about risk. Wealthy minds don't fear risk, they manage it. They ask, what's the upside if this works? Can I afford the downside if it fails? What's the worst case scenario, and can I survive it? What information do I need to move forward, not stay frozen? They understand this rule: you can't grow wealth without facing uncertainty. Every investment, every business venture, every new offer comes with a degree of unknown. But instead of being paralyzed by it, they become students of risk, testing small, moving fast, and growing through experience. How to embrace calculated risk. 1. Redefine failure. Failure is not fatal, it's feedback. It's tuition for mastery. 2. Take micro risks first. Don't start with betting everything. Start with manageable risks. Launch a test product. Invest a small amount. Pitch to one client. 3. Decide faster with incomplete information. In life and business, waiting for 100% certainty equals lost opportunity. Move when you have 70 to 80% clarity. 4. Develop a risk budget. Allocate a portion of your money, time, or energy to experiment. That way, failure is part of the plan, not a crisis. 5. Celebrate action over accuracy. Don't just praise what's smart, praise what's brave. From risk averse to wealth ready. You don't need to become reckless. But you do need to become resilient. If you're unwilling to make mistakes, you'll never make money. If you're unwilling to risk judgment, you'll never gain influence. If you're unwilling to bet on yourself, no one else will either. Closing thoughts. Playing it safe is the most dangerous thing a genius can do. Because what you avoid out of fear may be the very thing that unlocks your future. Risk isn't the enemy. Fear of risk is. If you want to stop being a broke genius, you must stop protecting your comfort and start pursuing calculated courage. The life you want is on the other side of a decision you've been afraid to make. Chapter 7. Smart but scattered, no focus, no fortune. Ever heard the phrase, jack of all trades, master of none? Now, what if we rephrased it for brilliant minds, master of intelligence, slave to distraction? One of the silent killers of financial success among highly intelligent people is not a lack of ideas. It's a lack of focused execution. Smart people often have 10 brilliant ideas before breakfast. But by sunset, none are launched, just more brainstorming, more researching, and more unfinished tabs open in their mental browser. They are smart, but scattered. And in the real world, scattered energy equals scattered results. The genius problem: too many talents, no direction. When you're intelligent, everything feels possible. You're multi-talented, multi-curious, multi-capable. You can start a blog, build an app, write a book, run a podcast, trade crypto, design a website, and yes, you could do all of it. But the truth is, just because you can do many things doesn't mean you should. Every day you spread your attention across multiple projects, you dilute your impact. Every time you switch directions, you lose momentum. Being gifted isn't enough. Without focus, genius becomes chaos. The power of laser focus. Let's make something clear. Focus is the multiplier of intelligence. One sharp idea, fully executed, is worth more than 100 scattered brainstorms. The richest people in the world didn't get there by doing everything. They picked one thing, mastered it, scaled it, and then diversified. Warren Buffett focused on investing. Elon Musk focused on engineering innovation. Oprah focused on media and storytelling. Steve Jobs focused on design and technology simplicity. If they tried to do everything at once from the beginning, they would have ended up with nothing exceptional. Focus is not limitation, it's amplification. Why smart people struggle to focus? You'd think intelligence would lead to discipline. But often, the opposite is true. Here's why smart people find it hard to focus. 1. They're easily stimulated. Smart minds crave novelty. New ideas, new challenges, new systems. But novelty without direction becomes distraction too. They fear missing out on better options, FOMO. What if I pick the wrong path? This fear keeps them jumping from one pursuit to another. 3. They confuse being busy with being productive. Doing many things feels like progress, but it's just disguised procrastination. 4. They feel bored when things slow down. Execution requires repetition, systems, and patience. Many smart people bail when the excitement fades. 5. They crave perfection before commitment. Let me learn just one more thing turns into analysis paralysis and delayed action. The brilliant dabbler versus the laser-focused doer. Meet Johnson, a brilliant young professional with talent in music, marketing, web design, and copywriting. He's constantly switching between ideas, launching a YouTube channel one month, designing merch the next, then abandoning both to start a crypto project. Nothing ever finishes. Momentum never builds. Now meet Mitchell, who chose to master digital product creation. She focused on building, launching, and improving a single online course for 12 months straight. By year's end, she had an audience, automated sales, and passive income. Both are intelligent. Only one is focused and wealthy. The rule of one: how to unlock your financial genius. Here's a simple rule that can change everything. One niche. One solution. One platform. 1 year. Give one idea your full energy. Market it. Test it. Refine it. Expand it. Let it work long enough to grow roots. This doesn't mean you can never pivot, but it means you commit to seeing one thing through before chasing another shiny opportunity. Focus doesn't limit you. It launches you. Practical ways to cultivate focus. 1. Decide who you want to serve. Focus starts with purpose. Who is your ideal client, customer, or audience? Build for them. 2. Create a not now folder. Every idea that excites you, but doesn't align with your current focus, goes here. You're not saying no, just not now. 3. Set 90-day execution cycles. Commit to one clear goal per quarter. No new projects until the current one hits milestones. 4. Use time blocking. Structure your day around deep work blocks. Protect your creative time. Shut off distractions. 5. Measure progress, not activity. Track outcomes, not just to-do lists. Execution is what matters, not motion. 6. Surround yourself with focused people. Your environment shapes your behavior. Avoid scattered circles. Join communities that value discipline. Focus brings fortune. Your brain is a high-powered engine. But even the fastest engine won't win a race if it keeps switching lanes. Focus turns potential into power. It transforms scattered energy into exponential results. You don't need more ideas. You need to go all in on one, and see it through. Closing thoughts. Being smart isn't your problem. Being scattered is. The world doesn't reward the most intelligent. It rewards the most focused, the most consistent, the most committed to mastery. Remember, a broke genius knows everything. A wealthy genius does one thing well, and finishes it. Your future fortune isn't buried under more knowledge. It's buried under the mountain of unfinished projects you started and never executed. So pick one. Go deep. Finish strong. And let your genius become wealth, not just wasted brilliance. Chapter 8. Money is emotional, not just logical. Why intelligence doesn't equal financial wisdom. You're smart. You understand numbers. You can calculate interest rates, analyze data, and even draft a pretty decent investment plan. And yet, your bank account doesn't reflect your brain power. Why? Because here's the secret most intellectuals miss. Money is emotional before it is logical. The way people earn, spend, save, and invest money is not driven purely by intelligence. It's shaped by emotion, identity, childhood programming, fear, pride, and desire. So while smart people know what they should do with money, they often don't do it. Not because they lack knowledge, but because they lack emotional awareness around money. The myth: if I understand money, I'll automatically handle it well. Let's be honest. Smart people assume that understanding something equals mastery. You might think, I read that book on investing, I understand how credit works, I know how to budget, but what you know and what you do are often miles apart. You can't know how to build wealth and still overspend. You can understand compound interest and still procrastinate on investing. You can advise others about finances and still be broke yourself. Why? Because money decisions are not made in the logical brain. They're made in the emotional subconscious, and then justified with logic afterward. How emotions drive financial behavior. Let's explore how emotions sneak into smart people's money lives. 1. Fear. Fear of loss, fear of risk, fear of looking stupid, fear of failing. So you play it safe. You overanalyze. You underinvest. You delay. 2. Pride. You buy things to maintain your image. You refuse to ask for help. You avoid feedback. You'd rather appear successful than actually be financially secure. 3. Guilt. You feel guilty about making money when others are struggling. Or you overspend to overcompensate for childhood lack. 4. Shame. You avoid looking at your bank statements. You procrastinate on money decisions because they remind you of your financial mistakes. 5. Desire for approval. You spend money to impress. You say yes to financial obligations to avoid conflict. You sacrifice your future for short-term validation. Now, ask yourself, which of these emotional drivers are active in your financial life? Childhood money programming, the emotional blueprint. Many smart adults are still living out financial beliefs they absorbed in childhood. What were you taught, directly or indirectly? Money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, we can't afford that, you have to work hard for every penny, debt is evil, investing is gambling. These beliefs create your emotional blueprint around money. Even if you intellectually reject them, they still live in your subconscious. So when it's time to invest, launch a business, charge what you're worth, or walk away from underpaying clients, your emotional brain resists. And until you rewire your beliefs, you'll keep self-sabotaging, no matter how smart you are. The analyst who couldn't invest. Meet Donald, a brilliant financial analyst. He advises clients on portfolio strategies and market timing. But when it comes to his own finances, he barely invests. He hoards cash. He panics when the market dips. Why? Because deep down, Donald carries emotional baggage from childhood poverty. He fears losing everything, even when logic tells him the long-term benefits of investing. So despite his knowledge, he remains stuck in scarcity. That's the paradox: intellectual clarity, emotional insecurity, no progress. How to align your emotions with wealth. To become truly financially empowered, you must integrate your head and heart. You must treat money not just as math, but as a mirror. Here's how to start. 1. Identify your money story. Ask, what did I learn about money growing up? What emotional patterns do I repeat around earning, spending, and saving too? Feel the feelings, don't just fix the facts. Next time you avoid a financial decision, pause and ask, what emotion am I avoiding right now? Fear? Shame? Uncertainty? Name it. Don't numb it. 3. Heal the emotional triggers. You may need to journal, speak with a coach, or reflect deeply on past financial trauma. Unprocessed money wounds lead to unwise money behaviors. 4. Create emotional anchors for financial habits. Don't just automate savings, attach an emotional reward to it. Don't just invest, connect it to your freedom, legacy, or impact. Money moves faster when it has meaning. 5. Upgrade your identity. Stop saying I'm not good with money. Start affirming, I'm learning to make wise, empowered decisions with money. Identity shapes behavior more than information does. The wealthy understand emotion, not just numbers. The truly wealthy don't just have spreadsheets, they have emotional intelligence about money. They make decisions from vision, not fear. Invest based on strategy, not status. Delay gratification without guilt. Say no without shame. Stay calm during chaos. They've learned that emotional mastery is the real wealth skill. And if you don't master your emotions, you'll always need external validation, and that keeps you spending, not growing. Closing thoughts. You're not poor because you don't understand money. You're stuck because your emotions and your logic are at war. Your intellect may know what to do, but your inner beliefs, emotions, and identity may still be playing a different game. Money is not just a numbers game, it's a mind game. And if you want to win, you must do the inner work. Because until your emotions support your decisions, your bank account will never reflect your brilliance. Chapter 9. The Genius Who Hates Selling, Why Refusing to Sell Keeps You Poor. You can write, design, code, invent, solve, analyze, advise, and strategize. Your mind is a powerhouse of ideas and solutions. But there's one thing you avoid like a plague: selling. You hate promoting yourself. You feel weird asking for money. You think marketing is manipulative. You'd rather create than convince. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Many intelligent people love to build things, but they refuse to sell them. And that, right there, is the gap between brilliance and bankability. The I'm too smart to sell syndrome. Here's the dangerous belief that keeps smart people broke: if my work is good enough, people will find me. If I keep delivering value, success will come. I don't want to be pushy, I want to be respected. But the reality is, the marketplace doesn't reward talent alone, it rewards visibility. Value doesn't matter if no one knows about it. And respect doesn't pay rent unless you've learned how to monetize it. You may be the best kept secret in your industry, but being a secret doesn't make you successful. It just makes you invisible. The smart person's misconception about sales. To many intellectuals, selling feels like manipulation, begging, ego-driven, sleazy, beneath their intelligence. But this perspective is rooted in emotion, not truth. Selling, at its core, is not about manipulation. It's about service. It's about solving real problems and communicating their value in a way people understand and want to pay for. Refusing to sell is not humility, it's sabotage. You're not just avoiding discomfort. You're denying people access to what you can offer. You're silencing your own genius. The irony, you're selling already. You think you're not a salesperson. Let's unpack that. You sold your potential to get into college. You sold your skills to get your job. You sell ideas in meetings. You sell your personality in relationships. You sell your worth every time you ask for a raise, a promotion, or a new opportunity. You've been selling your whole life. You just didn't call it that. Now imagine what could happen if you became intentional and skilled at it. The money block. I don't want to be salesy. Let's call this out clearly. When you say, I hate selling, what you often mean is, I don't want to be rejected. I don't want people to think I'm greedy. I don't want to put myself out there and be ignored. I want people to just magically discover and reward me. But this mindset keeps you playing small. You think you're protecting your dignity, but you're actually protecting your insecurity. You must reframe selling as sharing your solution with confidence. You're not forcing. You're not begging. You're saying, here's the problem I solve. Here's how it works. Here's what it costs. Here's why it's worth it. That's not manipulation. That's clarity. That's leadership. The genius and the marketer. Two people. Alex is a brilliant course creator who never launches because he's afraid to look like a salesperson. He tweaks, perfects, and rewrites, but never promotes. Tina is a former teacher with average skills but massive courage. She launches her course with a simple sales page and unapologetically tells her audience, this will change your life, and it's worth every penny. 3 months in, Tina has 500 paying customers. Alex is still hiding behind revisions. What's the difference? The courage to sell. The psychology of selling for smart people. Here's how to reshape your mindset. 1. Selling is storytelling. Your brain loves stories. So do your buyers. Don't pitch. Tell how your product changes lives too. Selling is a transfer of belief. If you believe in what you offer, your job is to transfer that belief to your audience. Confidence converts. Hesitation kills. 3. Selling is ethical when your product helps. If you truly help people, it's unethical not to sell. Hiding your product helps no one. 4. Selling is a skill, not a personality. You don't have to be loud, flashy, or extroverted. You just need clarity, conviction, and a repeatable message. How to start selling with confidence. 1. Lead with transformation. Don't just talk about features. Talk about what your offer helps people become. 2. Use proof. Share testimonials, case studies, before-after results. Smart buyers want evidence. 3. Make it simple. Smart people often over-explain. Keep your sales message clear and concise. 4. Practice daily selling. Mention your offer consistently, in conversations, content, emails, or posts. Selling is not an event, it's a rhythm. 5. Detach from outcome. You're not trying to force someone to say yes. You're inviting them to solve a problem. Some will say yes. Some won't. Move on. Closing thoughts. You are not broke because you lack brilliance. You are broke because your brilliance is in hiding. No matter how great your product, book, service, or solution, if you can't sell it, no one will benefit from it. Selling isn't beneath you, it's the bridge between your ideas and your income. It's the pathway between intention and impact. So stop waiting to be discovered. Start showing up with clarity, courage, and conviction. Because the genius who won't sell will always serve those who do. Chapter 10. When intelligence breeds entitlement, the hidden arrogance that blocks wealth. There's a quiet belief buried deep in many brilliant minds. It whispers, because I'm smart, I deserve to be wealthy. Because I've worked hard, success should come. Because I know more than most, I shouldn't have to struggle. The belief sounds logical, fair, even. But here's the cold truth. The world doesn't reward you for being smart. It rewards you for being valuable. And the moment intelligence turns into entitlement, you stop growing, stop learning, and start waiting. Waiting for the world to give you what you think you've already earned. But the marketplace doesn't pay for your potential. It pays for your production. The silent ego of the smart. Entitlement isn't always loud or arrogant. Sometimes, it wears a quiet, intellectual face. You might be experiencing entitlement if you've ever thought, I'm too qualified to start at that level, this job is beneath me, that kind of work is for less educated people, I've done the work. Why am I not further ahead? I shouldn't have to market myself, my work should speak for itself. These thoughts may feel justified, but they can lead to stagnation. Because instead of adapting to what works, you cling to what you feel you deserve. That's how entitlement masquerades as intelligence. And it's costing you money, degrees, status, and a false sense of superiority. Let's address a tough truth. Smart people often overestimate the market value of their education. You might have degrees, honors, certifications, accolades. You might have been the top of your class. But out here, in the real world, no one's clapping for your GPA. Clients, customers, and investors don't care how intelligent you are if you haven't figured out how to solve real problems, create value, or deliver results. Your credentials can get your foot in the door. But only execution, value, and humility will keep you in the room. How entitlement blocks wealth. Let's look at how this shows up in real life. 1. Waiting for opportunities instead of creating them. You wait to be discovered, hired, promoted, or chosen. But the wealthy don't wait, they create too. Refusing to start small. You want to launch at the top. But most success stories started in the trenches. 3. Looking down on certain industries. You avoid sales, marketing, or blue-collar businesses because they seem beneath you, even though they print money for. Thinking you've already done enough. You stop learning, stop evolving, stop adapting. But wealth building is a lifelong process, not a graduation ceremony. 5. Comparing yourself to less intelligent people who are wealthier. You get frustrated, I'm smarter than them, so why are they richer? Because they out-executed you, not out-thought you. Expert versus the humble hustler. Charles has a master's degree, several certifications, and a brilliant mind. But he refuses to freelance online because the pay seems too low. He keeps applying to senior roles, waiting for the perfect fit. Years go by. Blessing, on the other hand, starts out selling her writing skills on Fiverr for modest rates. She builds a reputation, grows her brand, and reinvests in herself. Within 2 years, she has multiple income streams, a team, and financial freedom. Charles is still waiting. Blessing is still learning. What made the difference? One humbled herself and started where she was. The other waited for what he believed he was owed. How to kill entitlement and embrace empowerment. Here's how to shift from an entitled genius to a financially empowered one. 1. Adopt a beginner's mindset. No matter how smart you are, every new income path requires humility. Be willing to start small, fail, and learn fast too. Measure output, not IQ. Ask, what have I created, sold, or shipped in the last 30 days? Ideas don't pay bills. Action does. 3. Study people who out-earn you. Instead of judging them, learn from them. What are they doing that you're avoiding? 4. Make peace with uncomfortable work. Wealth comes from doing what others avoid, not just what's intellectually stimulating. 5. Repeat this mantra, The market doesn't care how smart I am. It only cares about the problem I solve, from deserving to delivering. Entitlement says, I should already have it. Empowerment says, I will build it. Entitlement waits for permission. Empowerment takes initiative. The moment you shift from deserving success to earning success, you unlock something powerful: ownership. And ownership is where wealth begins. Closing thoughts. Your intelligence is a gift, but it's not a guarantee. No one owes you wealth because you're smart. You must build it, earn it, grow it, maintain it. The danger isn't that you're not good enough. It's that you may have believed you were too good to do what wealth truly requires: risk, execution, sales, focus, service. And sometimes, starting small. Lose the entitlement. Embrace the process. And let your genius be a foundation, not a prison. Because intelligence becomes power only when it's humble enough to serve. Chapter 11. Playing not to lose versus playing to win. The wealth gap in mindset. There are two types of players in the game of life and wealth. 1. Those who play not to lose. 2. Those who play to win. And ironically, many of the most intelligent people fall into the first category. They don't chase dreams, they avoid disappointment. They don't build empires, they protect credentials. They don't launch bold ventures, they polish safe resumes. They're not failing because they are not capable. They're failing because they've become masters at minimizing loss, and complete strangers to maximizing gain. Let's be clear, you will never become wealthy by simply avoiding risk. You become wealthy by actively pursuing reward. The defensive mindset of the broke genius. The defensive mindset is deeply logical. It sounds like, let me make sure I don't mess up. What if this doesn't work? How can I play it safe? Let me avoid looking foolish. I just want to survive this season. But here's the problem. You can't win a game if your only strategy is not losing. Avoiding failure is not the same as building success. Protecting what you have is not the same as creating what you want. And if you only play defense in life, your dreams will never see offense. The offense of the wealthy. Those who play to win operate differently. Their thoughts sound like, what's the best outcome possible? How can I create massive value? What would happen if I truly went all in? How do I scale this, not just survive it? They're not reckless, but they're also not paralyzed by potential failure. They don't just ask what could go wrong, they obsess over what could go right. They understand that winning requires movement. And movement requires courage. Why smart people default to playing it safe? Intelligence, ironically, can make people more cautious. Here's why. 1. Smart people see more risks. You analyze every scenario, every angle, every variable. But instead of empowering action, it fuels hesitation too. They're conditioned for perfection. Anything less than an A+ feels like failure. So rather than risk imperfection, they stay in the lab. 3. They've been rewarded for caution. In academia, being accurate gets you ahead. In real life, being bold gets you ahead. 4. They fear looking stupid more than being broke. Let that sink in. Some smart people would rather be poor than be seen trying something that might fail publicly. That fear of embarrassment can be more crippling than poverty itself. The defensive professional versus the bold builder. Dr. Tony is a brilliant professional with multiple degrees. She saves diligently, avoids debt, and only invests in ultra-safe instruments. She's playing not to lose. Her wealth grows slowly, cautiously, predictably, and barely beats inflation. Jude is a former banker who quit to build a logistics startup. He risks money, time, and reputation. He makes mistakes, pivots, learns. But eventually, he lands a major distribution deal and 10x's his income in 2 years. Both are intelligent. But one is playing to win. The other is just trying not to lose. Guess who creates generational wealth? The hidden cost of playing not to lose. When you operate from fear, you underinvest in yourself. Stay in unfulfilling jobs. Say no to opportunities too early. Let perfect timing delay progress. Over-prepare and under-launch. You tell yourself you're being prudent, but really, you're avoiding power. Your safety net has become your ceiling. From defensive to offensive, the shift in strategy. To win, you must 1. Start with vision, not fear. Ask, what do I really want financially, creatively, and personally? Don't just plan for survival, plan for significance too. Take asymmetrical risks. These are actions where the potential gain is huge, and the loss is small. For example, launching a digital product, starting a side hustle, or investing in your skill set. 3. Focus on leverage, not just labor. Time is limited. Wealth is built by multiplying effort through systems, people, and platforms. 4. Build resilience, not just resistance. Mistakes will come. Failure is part of the journey. But resilience means you grow through it, not guard against it forever. 5. Set goals that stretch you. Don't just aim for enough to get by, aim for impact. Freedom. Abundance. Big goals fuel big actions. The ultimate question. Who are you playing for? If you're just playing for yourself, you'll play small. If you're playing for your legacy, your family, your purpose, or your God-given potential, you'll stop hiding and start building. Wealth isn't for the smartest. It's for the boldest. And the boldest are not reckless, they're intentional. They're aware of risk but obsessed with reward. They're not afraid to lose, because they're playing to win big. Closing thoughts. You've been playing not to lose for too long. You've tiptoed through life hoping for safety, validation, and a little bit of success. But genius alone doesn't win games. Execution does. Risk does. Vision does. So ask yourself, am I just protecting what I have? Or am I building what I was born to create? Because the broke genius is usually the one too smart to risk, while the wealthy one is smart enough to bet on themselves. It's your move. Are you playing to not lose, or are you finally ready to play to win? Chapter 12. The Fix. 10 Habits to Turn Genius into Wealth. Let's be clear, you're not broke because you're not brilliant. You're broke because brilliance without applied behavior leads to burnout, not bank accounts. If intelligence alone created wealth, every PhD would be a billionaire. But wealth follows habits, not high IQ. Decisions, not diplomas. Execution, not excellence on paper. So in this final chapter, we close the gap between potential and prosperity with something simple and powerful. 10 transformative habits that turn genius into wealth. These are not personality based. They're not reserved for extroverts, coders, influencers, or born entrepreneurs. They're for the doer. The smart person ready to be rich in both mind and money. Let's begin. Habit 1. Execute before you're ready. Perfectionism is the graveyard of progress. Highly intelligent people wait until they're sure, but wealth requires momentum more than it requires mastery. Launch that idea. Test that offer. Start with what you know, and grow as you go. Speed beats speculation. Action kills doubt. Habit 2. Focus like a laser, not a flashlight. You don't need more ideas, you need to finish one. Pick one niche. One income path. One transformation to create. Then give it 90 days of obsessive focus. Multitasking is a myth. Scatter kills scale. Clarity multiplies income. One breakthrough is worth more than 10 brainstorms. Habit 3. Sell with boldness, not shame. Smart people hate to sell, so they stay broke. But money flows where value is clearly communicated. Learn to pitch your product. Ask for the sale. Follow up. Market your message. Charge what you're worth. Sales is not greed. Sales is service with confidence. Habit 4. Rewire your money mindset. Stop thinking like an employee. Start thinking like an investor, a builder, a problem solver. Wealthy minds ask, how do I multiply this? How do I earn from what I already know? What systems can replace my labor? If you want to shift your life, you must first shift your thinking. Habit 5. Build assets, not just income. Smart people often trade time for money. But time is limited. Start building income streams that grow without you. Digital products. Licensing intellectual property. Rental income. Dividends. Content that compounds. If your money doesn't work while you sleep, you'll work until you die. Habit 6. Say no without guilt. Focus demands boundaries. Say no to distractions. Low-paying tasks. Toxic clients. Overcommitting. Shiny new ideas that don't align. Every no protects your yes to wealth. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Habit 7. Invest relentlessly in self-mastery. The most powerful investment? You. Smart people read. But wealthy people apply what they read, and pay for transformation. Buy courses. Hire coaches. Attend masterminds. Surround yourself with higher level thinkers. Your income rarely exceeds your identity. So grow the person behind the intellect. Habit 8. Create before you consume. Don't wake up and scroll. Wake up and ship. Build first. Write first. Sell first. Make your contribution before absorbing someone else's. Consumption without creation equals clutter. Creation first equals compounding rewards. Habit 9. Track numbers, not just knowledge. Data drives decisions. Smart people think in theory. Wealthy people think in metrics. Track income. Monitor expenses. Measure conversion rates. Know your margins. Set financial targets. If you can't measure it, you can't multiply it. Make money tangible, not just theoretical. Habit 10. Embrace risk as a growth tool. Risk doesn't mean recklessness. It means stretch. Every big leap in your wealth journey will feel uncomfortable. Your first product launch. Your first premium client. Your first investment. Your first hire. Your first public failure. But every risk taken with wisdom becomes a doorway to a new financial level. Comfort is the enemy of compensation. Final words. The new identity of the wealthy genius. You were never meant to be just smart. You were meant to be significant. You were never meant to stay broke. You were meant to build, lead, create, serve, and receive abundantly. Now you know why intelligence alone isn't enough. How hidden mindsets sabotage results. And the daily habits that turn insight into income. You're not stuck anymore. You're informed. You're empowered. You're capable. All that's left now is to begin, because genius is a gift. But wealth is a decision, made daily, with courage and consistency.